It feels good. It just, it still don't feel real.
Anthony Robinson spent 11 years in prison for a murder that the now 31-year-old could not have committed. And it was this X-ray that led to his release from Stateville Correctional Center on Monday.
It felt good to hug my sister, like hug all my family members.
Anthony Robinson was wrongfully convicted of a murder, despite it being impossible for him to have done so considering his injuries at the time and the circumstances of the crime. From Hoodline News, Kelvin Jemison was shot and killed outside of the Washington Park homes in Chicago in 2013. From the National Registry of Exonerations, Dwayne Roley was walking with Kelvin at the time but was uninjured. He refrained from coming forward because of a warrant, but once found by police, Roley identified Robinson as the shooter in a videotaped statement, and he also identified Clyde Jackson as being involved. A Chicago detective reported that Kelvin's ex-girlfriend and her mom said they knew Twan and B.A. to be involved. That's Antoine Hill and Anthony Robinson, respectively. From Hoodline, the shooter was seen on camera sprinting away on foot with no obvious defects or issues. Although it wasn't Anthony because he had been shot multiple times in his leg and foot just a few months prior to this. From CBS, he was apparently shot in both legs, but his tibia and fibula were shattered in one of his legs. And because of this, as Hoodline said, Anthony was reliant on crutches to move around. The description of the shooter given by witnesses was that he had short hair and Anthony had long dreadlocks. But police arrested Robinson, Jackson, and Hill for murder, attempted murder, and aggravated discharge of a firearm. The three went to trial near the end of 2014 before Judge Obish. From the National Registry of Exonerations, Roley testified and recanted his identifications. Unfortunately, the video footage of him implicating the three was allowed to be introduced. There's a lot of stuff within the trial, so if you want to read more, check out the National Registry of Exonerations page about Anthony Robinson. Judge Obish acquitted Hill and Jackson, but denied a similar motion for Robinson. And there was a couple of witnesses that said the shooter had been 6'1" to 6'3", but Robinson was 5'7". None of this really mattered though, and Obish relied heavily on Roley's original statement, and a motion for a new trial was denied. Anthony Robinson was convicted and sentenced to 55 years in prison. In 2017, the 1st District Illinois Appellate Court affirmed Robinson's conviction. He then filed a post-conviction petition in 2018. Although Obish dismissed the petition, the appellate court reversed his ruling and sent the case back to trial. Lauren Myerscough-Mueller of the Exoneration Project at the University of Chicago Law School began representing Anthony Robinson. And according to CBS, his attorneys said the medical records were never presented in court. Robinson said he told police and his original lawyer about his injury, but no one investigated. Judge Obish later agreed that the evidence should have been presented, and had it been, it would have been a great defense for Anthony. In 2023, a supplement was filed by Robinson's attorneys, according to the National Registry of Exonerations. Dr. Paul Goodman's report found it would be impossible for Anthony to have ran like the perp did in the video. His tibia and fibula, as I mentioned, were shattered, and he required pins and rods to hold his bones in place. In February 2024, the appeals court overturned his conviction, and prosecutors decided not to try Anthony Robinson again. Anthony was vacated on April 8th, 2024, and he was released from Stateville Correctional Center after Judge James Obish, the same judge that originally sentenced him, vacated his conviction. Anthony Robinson spent over a decade locked up. Anthony will, or may have already, filed for a certificate of innocence.